Hello students, welcome to Biozone. In previous video, we have studied about growth and reproduction as a property of living organism, right? In today's video, we are going to discuss another two feature of living organisms, that is metabolism and cellular organization. Okay, so let's get started. So the first one is metabolism. Okay, what is metabolism? Metabolism basically means sum total of all the chemical reactions that are happening inside the body of a living organism, right? Now what is this? Suppose when we eat food, we know that food gets digested, correct? Now what is digestion? Basically digestion means several chemical reactions are happening there, and after several chemical reactions, food get what we call as a food gets digested, correct? Just as digestion, when we walk, when we think, even when we rest, during rest condition also several chemical reactions are happening inside our body, so that to perform a particular task. Suppose we respire, correct? We respire. There are various chemical reactions are happening inside our body continuously to so that the respiration can happen properly. Okay, so that means I want to say that in our body, to perform each and every physiological functions such as digestion, respiration, you may say when we walk, when we move our hand, that means muscle movement. Behind every physiological functions that we perform, there are several chemical reactions are happening there. Okay, that means these various chemical reactions are very much important for the for a living organism to be alive, correct? This continuous chemical reaction is required for a living organism to be alive. This is a very important feature, you can say, of a living organism. So in a word, what we can say as a metabolism means various chemical reactions that are happening inside our body. We can collectively call these chemical reaction as a metabolism, correct? Now metabolism can be of two types. It can be catabolism and it can be anabolism. Now what is the difference? Catabolism means such chemical reactions in which a large molecule or a complex molecule breaks down into several smaller molecules. Okay, so that means when a large molecule, breaks into smaller molecules. Okay, smaller molecules. Such chemical reactions are called as catabolic reaction or catabolism. Okay, as an example, we can say respiration. As an example, we can say respiration is an example of catabolic reaction. How? We know that when we eat carbohydrate food, such as when we eat rice or roti, these are carbohydrate foods, and after digestion of this carbohydrate food, glucose is generated, correct? Glucose is a complex molecule, and what happens in case of respiration? This complex molecule here, the glucose gets oxidized, and the glucose, that is the large molecule or complex molecule, gets converted into or breaks into smaller molecules such as carbon dioxide and water. That we know carbon dioxide is a product of respiration, correct? So here, as large molecule, that is glucose, breaks into smaller molecules such as carbon dioxide and water, we can call the respiration as a catabolic reaction, correct? And in this catabolic reaction, energy is released. Okay, energy is released in such reaction because the bonds of the large molecule, it breaks. Okay, so that's why catabolic reaction always release energy, and as energy is released in catabolic reaction, we can call catabolic reaction as exergonic reaction correct, as exergonic reaction. And we can also call catabolism as exergonic reaction. Now, what is anabolism? Anabolism is exactly the opposite of catabolism. Okay, anabolism is exactly the opposite of catabolism. And what happens in anabolism? In case of anabolism or anabolic reactions, smaller molecules assembles to form a large molecule. Okay, so what happens here? Here, small molecules. Here, small molecules assemble. Here, small molecules assemble to form a large molecule. As an example, we can say photosynthesis is an example of anabolic reaction. Okay, we can say photosynthesis. We can say photosynthesis as an example of anabolic reaction. How photosynthesis is an example of anabolic reaction? In case of photosynthesis, we know that plant uses carbon dioxide and water to form a glucose, correct? Here, carbon dioxide and water is a small molecules that assembles and form a large molecule, that is glucose. Okay, and so that's why photosynthesis can be considered as an anabolic reaction. And in such reaction, energy is consumed, energy is required to perform such reactions. And in case of photosynthesis, sunlight provides this energy, correct? Here, we know that catabolic reaction, energy is released, but in case of anabolic reaction, energy gets consumed. Okay, so we call catabolic reaction as exergonic reaction. So just opposite of exergonic, we are going to call the anabolic reaction as a endergonic reaction. Endergonic reaction. Or we can also call as the anabolism or anabolic reaction as endothermic reactions. Okay, similarly exergonic reaction can also be called as exothermic reactions. Okay, okay, now this is metabolism. Okay, now the question comes, is metabolism a defining feature of living organism? Now, what is defining feature? We know that defining feature means the feature of living organisms that should be present in all living organisms without any exception, and that should not be present in case of any non-living organism, right? As of now, we have studied that metabolism can be seen in case of all living organisms, right? And no non-living organisms exhibit metabolism. So as of now, from the discussion, as of now, we can call that metabolism is a defining feature, right? Now, here comes a situation. Suppose the metabolism, what is metabolism? Metabolism means the chemical reactions that are happening inside our body, correct? This chemical reaction can also be performed in vitro condition. What is in vitro condition? It can be performed in vitro condition. Okay, what is in vitro condition? In vitro means when a chemical reaction can be performed, when the chemical reaction can be performed outside the body of a living organism. That means when a chemical reaction is happening in a laboratory within a test tube, we call this as a in vitro condition, right? It is possible, it can be possible, okay, only when, but here we have to consider one thing. The chemical reaction that is happening inside our body, suppose a particular chemical reaction is happening inside my body, correct, and I want to perform this particular chemical reaction in a test tube, correct. It is only possible, we can perform the chemical reaction in a test tube only when we provide only when we provide the exact temperature or exact pH or exact reactant as in my body within that test tube, only when the reaction can be performed in vitro condition or inside a test tube, correct? But here you may get confused now, right? You may ask me, metabolism here is occurring outside the body, so how can we consider metabolism as a defining feature, right? Here one thing you have to consider, that here the reaction that is happening outside my body in a test tube, the reaction, the particular reaction, the reaction itself is living. The reaction itself can be considered as a living reaction. Why? Because the reaction that is happening inside the test tube and the reaction that is happening in my body is these two reactions are exactly same. That's why the reaction that is happening inside the test tube, we consider that particular reaction is a living reaction, but the test tube is not living, correct? The test tube is not living. That's why we cannot consider this in vitro condition. That means the reaction that is happening inside the test tube, this whole artificial condition or in vitro condition, we cannot consider this in vitro condition as a living and we cannot consider this in vitro condition as a non-living also. So here don't get confused. Metabolism can only be seen in the body of living organisms, and all the living organisms exhibit metabolism and no non-living organisms exhibit metabolism. Okay, so metabolism definitely can be considered as a defining feature of living organism. Okay, so is metabolism a defining feature of living organism? Here we can write yes, metabolism is a defining feature of living organism, correct? Now moving on to the cellular organization. What is cellular organization? I have also told you that living organism means there must be presence of cell. It may be unicellular or it may be multicellular, but presence of cell is very much essential for an organism to be called as living, correct? Cellular organization means presence of cell, and this is also definitely a defining feature of living organism, because all the living organisms are made up of cell. We also know that cell is the structural and functional unit of living organism. So we can also, so from these also we can tell that cellular organization or presence of cell can be found in case of all living organisms without any exceptions, and no non-living organisms exhibit presence of cell. Okay, so here cellular organization, it is also a defining feature of living organism. Okay, so this is all for today. This is all about metabolism and cellular organization, and just a brief idea as per your NCERT book. Okay, and in the next video we are going to discuss about consciousness, and hopefully in the next video will be the in the next video we will be able to complete this chapter. Okay, so I hope you have understood today's topic. If you like this video, you can put your comment in the comment section below, and you can like this video also. So this much for today. Thank you.